thought standing between a woman and the man she loves was a bad idea, then let me introduce you to Thadeus, because while Elfaria was desperately trying to reunite with Will Surfort, this man really looked at the strongest ice mage around and said, yeah, no, you're not getting past me. Now here's the funny part, Elfaria loves Will, like, I'll freeze the entire atmosphere if anything happens to him, levels of love. Meanwhile, Thadeus doesn't have a crush on Will or anything. No, brother is just Will's #1 fan. The man admires Will's strength so much that he was ready to throw hands with an ice goddess herself just to make sure nothing happened to him. One side had love, the other side had unlimited premium membership to the Will Surfort fan club, and somehow that turned into one of the most ridiculous battles in Wistoria. The second Thadeus blocked her path, Elfaria stopped. She looked at him, not angry, not surprised, just that look that says, move. But Thadeus wasn't moving. This man had already accepted whatever medical bills came after this. He immediately launched an attack powerful enough to make the spectators start praying. Boom! The entire battlefield exploded. Dust filled the air. Everyone watching thought, wait, did he actually hit her? And then, out of the smoke, Elfaria walked out completely unharmed. Not even a scratch, not even breathing heavily. She just looked mildly annoyed. And trust me, an annoyed Elfaria is infinitely scarier than an angry Elfaria. She basically looked at Thadeus and said, I don't have time for this. But did that stop him? Absolutely not, because in Thadeus's mind, Will's safety came first, even if it meant becoming the world's biggest ice sculpture. So naturally, brother powered up, and Elfaria powered up harder. Thadeus increased his mana. Elfaria increased hers so much that winter itself started asking for royalties. The temperature dropped. The clouds froze. Birds canceled their flights. Even the sun looked confused. And every time their magic collided, boom, crash! It sounded like two natural disasters were arguing over who owned the planet. But the craziest part, Thadeus knew. He knew he wasn't winning this, yet he still kept coming. Not because he hated Elfaria, not because he wanted glory, but because his respect for Will was simply that great. And honestly, you gotta respect that. But brother was trying to stop a freight train with positive thinking. Then Elfaria's expression changed, and every Wistoria fan immediately knew. Oh no, because she wasn't angry, she wasn't struggling, she was annoyed. An impatient Elfaria is basically a natural disaster with emotions. She released so much mana that nearby thermometers just gave up. At this point, even the Ice Age itself would have looked at her and said, relax, lady. Thadeus answered with everything he had, his magic, his determination, his pride, his hopes, his dreams, probably his tax returns too. And for a moment, it almost looked like he might actually pull off a miracle, until Elfaria decided she had enough. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the exact moment the battle stopped being fair. The amount of mana she unleashed was so absurd that the atmosphere itself probably needed therapy. And then, boom! One final clash, an explosion so ridiculous that astronomers probably looked into the sky and asked, since when did Earth have 2 moons? Half the battlefield disappeared, the other half applied for emotional support. And when the smoke finally cleared, standing there, without a scratch, without even looking tired, was Elfaria. Meanwhile, Thadeus looked like a man who had just discovered that admiration does not in fact come with plot armor. But honestly, this is what makes this fight so amazing. Neither of them hated each other. Thaddeus was simply trying to protect the man he admired most. And Elfaria, she was trying to reunite with the man she loved. Meaning this entire battle, this earth-shattering, continent-freezing, insurance premium increasing battle happened because 2 people cared about the same guy. Meanwhile, poor Will was somewhere else completely unaware that 2 walking catastrophes nearly rewrote geography over him. And somehow, this isn't even the craziest thing to happen in Wistoria.
Zeus!